Welcome back, everybody, to Gringos Liberados. We are now 1 week away from the end of the LTA South in 2025. The finals of the regional section is this coming weekend, along with 2 other matches. And then we're into cross-conference, then we're into Worlds, then we're into a whole heap of other stuff. Promotion in there as well. But we are almost done with the elimination phase. And we are still getting upsets. We're still getting crazy results. We're running out of teams to upset each other at this point. You know? Like, we've lost 4 of them now. RMC 4x4 joining me as always. RMC, let's start with you, mate. Let's start with you, mate. As always, whenever we have a paiN series, we need to start with you, I'm afraid. So VKS are just the best team now. The whole year comes together just like that in the space of 2 weeks or so. It's all part of the grand plan.
Man, CL and sandbagging, man. Bro just loves to throw expectations. No, but huge props to K-Stars. I do think, as of this week, they looked like the best team.
Yeah.
This week, and you know, Trajan, I think was it last week that you're singing Bull's praises.
The Go Bull.
I guess he deserves it.
As
2
it was
weeks ago,
clipped and posted. Yeah.
Yep, he is living up to expectation. I mean, in a top 4 where we've got Robo, FNB, and Wiser. I did not expect Bull to be the best top laner of the bunch, but
he's broken through some sort of ceiling in the last few weeks. Something has clicked in there, and
yep,
it just works now. He's just better now, and it just doesn't. I don't know. We'll have to maybe try and hear more about what that transformation is at some stage, and how much is him, how much is everyone else. Whatever the reasoning is, he has just managed to overcome that hurdle, and instead of being the anchor that held this project down, is now one of its kind of many wings carrying it to potentially first. So
I mean, Mortius and Trimby have been doing a generally good job for most of the year. I mean, Trimby had a bit of a rough start in Split 1, but you know, in Split 2 he really connected the way he was expected to. Miru, we always knew he was going to be great. He was undoubtedly the biggest gap in the series. Huge props to him, but we knew that was going to happen. Yeah, Bull was a big question mark, and Desamis was a big question mark. And I think Bull stepping up, we already saw signs of that. Desamis, I think, was the big thing that kind of pushed him over the edge. He got his early game back. He crushed the early game. He was outpacing Karioka wonderfully, which is not something that we've seen too much from Desamis this year. So yeah, I think Cadis is clicking together just when they need to. They're popping off. It's looking great. paiN though, geez, you know, I'm gonna leave space for to talk about Cade before I go on my tirade against paiN. So yeah.
I mean, look, I didn't expect paiN to fold over like a, you know, like the napkin origami at a fancy restaurant, right? And just be molded to exactly what Cade wanted them to do. You do feel for Titan, because it felt like he was the only one kind of trying to do. I mean, it's the same old story, right? But I think that game 2, especially where Miru just got monstrously ahead on the Aurora early, right? You let the Aurora go through in a game 2 or a game 3.
Game 3.
No, it was game 3. Game 3, yeah. Of Fearless, which I was kind of surprised by. When you have a high octane mid laner like that, you can't be letting that shit go through in game 3 in game 3 of Fearless. I was very surprised by that. So of course they yoinked it, and Romer just did not have a good time. Yeah, went with the Zyra jungle as well, which I thought was odd. But anyways, we'll go with
it's freshly buffed, and it's viable. Brandon Zyra jungle,
and Karioka has a record of success on it.
Yeah, it's the first Zyra in the region. Zyra jungle in the region. Yeah. But the other thing too was that I actually like it as a pick into Xin Zhao. I don't think that was the draft issue I had with that particular comp. Let's put it that way.
Yeah. So here, I'll put my kibosh on Cade. They look really, really good. The solo laners especially looked awesome, right? Trimby roaming, doing his thing, right? But it's sort of like you said, RMC, Trimby and Desamis, they seem to have got their early game groove back, which was the best version of any kind of CL roster, was Desamis and whoever the support is, just roaming around and causing havoc. And that's how they got those early game leads. And then the solo laners, now with Bull eating his freaking Wheaties in the morning, turning into a legitimate carry threat alongside Mortius and Miru. And when you've got this 3-headed monster going like this, it's really, really scary. And I think you wonder kind of for a broader discussion about Cade, right? It does seem, maybe there's oversimplification, but kind of the read I'm getting on them after a whole year almost of not being able to get a read on this team is if they get rolling early, watch out. And it seems they have a bit of the Furias about them, right? Like they have a really strong jungler setting things up, getting leads. And Tatu, I think, a little more selfish than Desamas. And that's not, kind of bad or good. It's a bit of needs must. But what we saw in this series was Cade got ahead and paiN could do nothing for 3 games in a row.
Yep.
Yeah.
I think this is the first time I feel like this particular Cade iteration might be better than the one we saw last year. Because up to now, I felt like Cade last year looked better. But if Cade can keep firing at this level, I think they might actually be better than sort of the Gigo Prods roster. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that for the fact that the Samus went from like seemingly not gelling well with Trimby like 2 weeks ago into locking in dovetailing like with Trimby in this way again, like again, it's so much just seems to have clicked in the last couple of weeks. Not necessarily all at the same time, but it's just all fallen into place. And maybe like it's just still momentum somehow, but like paiN won game 1, it looked like they had stopped them in their tracks. And it wasn't like an easy game for paiN. It was like a very long drawn out thing, but it wasn't a comeback by paiN. It was just like a really tight game that paiN ended up winning. And that didn't stop VKS at all. It did not slow their roll in any way. It was just 2 really good teams playing out a long game, and one of them ended up getting the critical like success at the game winning moment, right? And that's fair enough. So it does seem like VKS has just like immediately amassed all the hallmarks of a really resilient team and is actually starting to put strategy together, finally has the firepower in every lane that it needs to overcome like LTA South teams that always like have a lot of firepower to offer as a rule. So it's all coming up Millhouse, and now this is the perfect time for them to be peaking. And if all we have to do and see is how long does this last? How long do we remain in this state? Because we just got done, and we'll talk about that in a little bit more in a moment, about how short Furia's time was at the top now, it seems. Right?
Good Lord. Yeah.
So VKS is just at the start of that, and this has been a long time coming for them. So we'll see how long they can retain this. Yeah.
Okay. Now on to paiN, because I have a lot of problems with paiN, bro. Like I didn't think paiN was the highest ceiling team. I've said that from the beginning, but I did think they had the highest floor. Turns out I was wrong. There was a basement. I just didn't know about it, and they fell into the basement this weekend. Like it was brutal. Yeah. Like game 1 is what you expect from paiN Gaming. Like it wasn't the best game. Like they did stall in the mid game. They went really passive for a little bit to try and secure their advantages, and then finally played through. That's fine. That's not ideal, but that's paiN for you. 2-4 though, they were throwing games. Like this is the worst split I think we've seen from Weiser in a hot minute ever.
He was not good
for Weiser.
No, and bro, like seems to have completely forgotten how to actually play top lane outside of a 1v1. Like 1v1 against Bull was he was doing fine. But it's like, do we not know that there's a jungler? Do we not know there's a 5-player game? Like, why is it just getting dove on repeat? And paiN's just letting it happen. And the fights, man, like, holy crap. Watching Titan not be present at fights was driving me insane. And I was like rewatching it, and I was like, okay, Titan, what are you doing? Why are you never at the right place? And then the more I look at it, the more I realize, no, Titan's doing typical AD carry things. Like he's telling his team, okay, I'm gonna farm here, just play safe. And then paiN decides, nah, guys, we got this. 4v5, we got this. Do we need our biggest carry? No, we don't. Like, we're just going to full send it. And it's just like, why are we doing this? We are actually actively throwing. And so did I say 4v5? I mean 3v5. I mean 3v6. Because Romer was feeding his brains out. Like, the gap was unholy in the mid lane. Bro, Romer, like, I give this guy an entire year.
It's pretty funny seeing like the Azir Ziggs matchup be played so many times now in so many leagues, and it goes so well for the Ziggs so many times because it's clearly so good, and it was absolutely reversed with Miryu and Romer in game 2. It was crazy how backwards that matchup looked in their hands.
Yeah.
And Romer's played Ziggs before. He's like not even just like a flavor of the month Ziggs player. Like he was playing it before we were doing it as an Azir counter, but it doesn't seem to have helped in this series.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on with Romer, man. Like, beginning of the year, I know a lot of people were like, oh, Romer's not that good. He's not the guy. And I was like, okay, beginning of the year, give him time. Give him time.
Yeah.
He'll mesh. He'll learn. He'll improve. He deproved. Like, he had a good split too. Like, his Jace games, his Ari games, early split 3. And then I don't know what's going on with Romer, but he needs to fix this. Like, we cannot be getting bodied by Kaze like this. We cannot be being put 10 feet in the dirt by Mario. Like, 6 feet was not deep enough, apparently. So,
yeah.
But, like, the same problem with Weiser. It's like, bro, do you not realize they have junglers? Do they not realize they have supports? Like, where are your wards, brother? Why are we pushing up as Ziggs? Like,
yeah, a lot of unforced errors in this series, which is kind of what we saw from them in the Split 2 finals. And it was kind of the hope that it was like, this is just an off day, but it seems like this is just one of the things that paiN does now, is sometimes they show up and play like that, and that's really just not... You're not going to win. You're not going to be the best. You're not going to achieve consistency international anywhere playing like this. So it's not really great for them. And the only notable change was the mid lane from Dinkato to Romer. But I don't think Romer is mind controlling all 4 of his other teammates to be dumb. I don't think that's true. I don't think Dinkato was puppeteering them all to not be dumb. So... I don't think we can blame him too much for this. Obviously, he's not performing super well individually against Miryu and Kaze, who have admittedly been shafting everybody else, basically, in the league, including Romer. So he's just one of the others. He's one of the 6 people that just lose to Kaze and Miryu, I suppose, which is a shame. But he's far from the only one, and he does fine into the rest of them. So I don't want to...
Objection, Your Honor! He survived Kaze just 2 weeks ago! Like, what are we doing?
Well, sometimes Kaze also puts complete stinkers up, to be fair. Like, that's why I think Miryu is on his own tier above Kaze. They both have a ceiling that completely dominates, but Kaze will drop 0-5 games, and I don't think Miryu will drop 0-5 games. You know, I think he's just... I mean, maybe he's got a better team around him, who knows? But I think, like, you put Romer into Tuts, you put Romer into... House even, right? And House is having a better split than he has in recent times. We don't see this kind of stuff happen, or we haven't seen this happen throughout the year. So I think he's just one of the other mids in the region, which again, it's paiN Gaming. They're not built a legacy on being one of the teams in the region, right? They're supposed to be the best everywhere and the biggest fans and the most titles and the blah, 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 blah. And that's just not what we got. That's not what VKS got. They got very substandard paiN.
So paiN's never actually been the one with most titles, because that's INTZ.
No, but because no one actually got to... paiN's got like 4 as well now, or 3?
They've got 4, but
4 now, right?
But
yeah. So
INTZ still has their chance, even
not
if they're not in the league anymore.
Okay. Well, it's fine, because Loud's going to get their 5th one this split, so then they'll match. So, you know, don't worry about it. Quickly, there will be no remnant of INTZ left in the LTA South discourse.
No, there will always be Taste TP on INTZ.
Yeah.
That will never vanish.
There will always be Taste TP.
The 2-inch teleport. Let's go.
Okay, so paiN are just kind of in the bin. 404. Given what we see now from paiN, where do we actually consider paiN as a team in this region, right? Because we certainly can't comfortably say, this is the obvious top 2 right now, especially with how Split 2 went against FURIA, how the lower bracket is looking with Loud and Red against paiN, like later on potentially. Like, where do they sit now?
It's the $1 million question. I was gonna kind of pitch it to you guys, right? Like, who do we actually feel the best about going to cross conference, right, and by extension internationals? Because I don't have a great read on that. I don't like if you're talking just like the last couple of series. Yeah, it's Cade, but like the sample size has been much smaller for Cade, and I worry that they're going to get figured out, or like, you know, it's hard to put my trust completely in Bold because like this is the longest run of sustained success he's had, but like we've seen these little flashes before, right? We've seen him hit this ceiling before, but not for this long, I don't think, right? And maybe not into as good opposition, and maybe, you know, how much is it? Weiser's just having an absolute mare, right? Because like you said, RMC, like the laning was okay. It was more just kind of some of the broader kind of post 12-minute decisions. But again, and then it's like, you know, Cade, they're kind of doing a FURIA, right? With the way they're kind of going about winning these games. How do we feel about paiN? Look, on their day, they can beat anyone, but you don't know you don't know what day that's gonna be, right? I think I kind of revised the take. I think I said that paiN maybe had the highest ceiling. I think I'm starting to doubt that as well. But on their day they can beat anybody. I really believe that. I believe if we got a finals rematch, I don't know if it would, because I don't know what the hell's going on with paiN, but they could beat Cade. And would it surprise either of you if we got a finals rematch and paiN won 3-1 over Cade?
No, I don't think teams beat paiN twice in a row. And there's always the caveat for VKS as well: strength of schedule. Who do they play? FURIA and paiN. And look, sure, we can say that, Leviathan is
and like
Fluxu with the weakest teams, but the ones who bent over the hardest were FURIA and paiN.
Yeah. No, and so it's really tough to get a read on them, right? Because FURIA and paiN, right? If we were talking 3 weeks ago, and we would have looked at you and said, "Oh, Cade's gonna, beat them a collective 6-1," you would have said, "Oh my God, that's incredible!" Because FURIA and paiN are very good. Again, their floors are relatively high, right? They're not going to just roll over and die, except for the times when they roll over and die for 6 games in a row.
Yeah, it's like that. You mentioned like we've just not seen this level of ceiling like for Bowl before for this long, and this long is 2 days in a row essentially what we've seen, and that's true.
It's like you want to say, oh, it's 6 games.
Yeah,
or you want to 7 games, 7 games,
right? 2 good days, and this is the peak now, and it's just it's just another kind of artifact of this format where it feels like so little has been played and so little has happened over the course of this third split, when like people have barely played half the teams, if they're of the teams in the league if they're lucky, and we just, I guess, I don't know if were we too hasty, and maybe not even like because maybe some of us, perhaps RMC, are a bit more cynical than some of us about this, but like to start thinking like, well, maybe we're not gonna have teams that just decide to die for no reason anymore, like FURIA have done. Like I thought, I felt like we could be moving past the point where teams could be that inconsistent and that like just completely unrecognizable from week to week, and it's just not true. It's just still not the case. That's still where we are,
Yep.
Yeah. No, we're not there yet. Every time we think it is, we're not. And like it's making it harder for me to even trust in Cade because again this felt like sort of what FURIA were doing, except like FURIA had a better kind of split 2 regular season, and they carried that. And even like a split 1 where like they ran into 2 really tough teams at the time, right? They ran into, I think it was like paiN and Asurus or something, right? But ran into 2 teams that ended up being really good in split 1. But Cade's run of success, I don't, hasn't hit as hard. But I will kind of tie back to a take that I had on the last podcast, which is, I kind of had Cade on Fraud Watch, and I was nervous about them being sent to top 3. Now I am less nervous about sending them to top 3, right? Because I was so crushed. I'm like, oh man, like it feels like paiN are one of our top 3 teams for sure. And even now, I think I would still say they are one of our top 3 teams. But it felt awful that you have to decide like one spot between FURIA, Loud, and Red. But now FURIA are awful. They just disappeared. And Cade looked really good. Right? Again, but let's, to your point, RMC, the strength of schedule thing. So it's tougher to get a read on them. But my existential dread has gone down a little bit about Cade showing up and just being absolutely fisted.
It's if these series were like contested 3-1, 3-2s, I'd be really happy. It would be, now we've just got 4, maybe even 5 really good teams, but it's just not true. We have currently, seemingly, 1 really good team and a bunch of flip-floppers is now what it feels like, which is annoying because like it seems like we were so close to getting to that point, but these series, especially the paiN VKS one after game 1, was just, it doesn't feel like close as a series. Like the game 1 feels completely like forgettable compared to like how the series looked after that. Both the FURIA series were absolutely embarrassing, and like the Red paiN series actually felt more contested with a defined paiN as the better team here, but it felt more like a real match, and more like a real match than VKS paiN did when I was watching it.
Okay, do we want the copium take?
Yes, I actually need the copium take right now because I'm usually a copium take guy for this podcast, but I'm in the RMC chair today. I'm a little mad.
Oh yeah, the scene standing for some sort of chair. Let's put it that way. Well, Kate Stars, they're the ones who didn't get the memo because Split 3 doesn't have enough games. Loud, Red, and paiN decided to drop to lower bracket for more games. That's the copium take, intentional. That's why the wins are convincing, the losses are bad. They're throwing for more games.
They're games maxing by dropping to lower bracket. Yeah. Okay. Well, so VKS paiN, conclusive VKS, baffling for paiN, but as they are still most likely, should reasonably be considered a top 3 team, and they will be a top 3 team. That's how the bracket works, right? So, let's talk a little bit more about FURIA and Loud. We have already kind of moaned a bit about FURIA's complete lack of existence, but what about Loud? What about another 3-0 for Loud, taking out the Split 2 champions after taking out the Split 3 and Split 2 and Split 1 last place team? What a step up in theoretical strength of opponent, and what a complete nonchalance by Loud to continue just winning every single game in the lower bracket.
No. FURIA, when they bought Tatu, they also apparently bought whatever crap paiN was selling. In terms of
they
losing
bought
games,
the curse.
So.
Yeah. You can take Tatu off paiN, you can't take the paiN out of Tatu.
Yeah, that's why paiN was able to start winning finally, because they just like locked the curse in Tatu's body like Naruto, and then sold him with a bill of goods to FURIA, and we're like, you fools. You've bought this curse and magic spell that
my
we've
trap
locked
curse.
away. Yeah, exactly. So Loud, you know, we're carrying from through the root position again. Griffin is still absolutely gappening.
Griffin's him, dude.
Griffin's him. Robo's still him. Even Jewel is like at a moderate level, like somewhat him at times. Like, and that's
he's figuring it out.
He's figuring it out, and that, I think it does really help Loud, the fact that Tut evidently still is. I just think, I don't know what's going on with this boy. He is just not right.
No.
It wasn't as hopeless as before, but the opponent was way easier. VKS is now probably the best team in the league right now, and this is Loud, who were the fifth team. Like,
they were,
these shouldn't be. This should be a lot easier, and he did perform better and get better scores, but he still didn't do what he was doing last split. We're still not solved in this mid lane, and I think that did give Jewel the room to breathe and continue to bed in, and is now, you know, doing a lot of very good, like, I'm there for you jungler mid laning. Like, it's great.
Can I just also highlight, FURIA, despite losing 0-3, were actually had more kills in 2 of the 3 games. Like, when's the last time we saw that? Where the team with more kills loses consistently in a series. Like, one game happens, backdoor, upset, whatever.
Yeah.
But like 2 out of 3 games, FURIA were hitting kills.
Yeah, I don't want to make it sound like Loud stomped FURIA and FURIA did nothing, right? So they 3-0'd them, but this is not a series where FURIA did nothing, had nothing, and achieved nothing, right? They just lost all 3 games. But they did not, it's not like they didn't play all 3 games, you know what I mean? They were, as you say, they were in the lead for large swathes of it. They were doing threatening FURIA comebacks at times. They were able to do some things. But it felt like they're only doing the, like, we're going to try and scrap our way out of a ridiculous situation that we've put ourselves in without doing any of the good stuff anymore. And now everyone's wise to it, and the other teams are bedding in and settling in and not letting them get away with it anymore. So it feels like we're doing more of the thing that we were more of the downside aspect with none of the defensible good side that kind of let them get away with it, and they didn't, and ultimately it cost them 3 games in a row, despite the fact that they're still obviously mechanically skilled. Obviously there is something correct going on at the core of this FURIA roster. We've seen it, but they just can't win the games anymore, and Loud are locked in.
Yeah. So word on the street was that apparently FURIA, after coming back from for Split 3, they decided to go like 8 scrims a day.
I don't
know if they did that.
They were
like
saying
every
that
single day.
at like international events and interviews. They were like, we want to go like Eastern scrim blocks now. We're going to,
And like I get it, right? Like more scrims means you learn more, and then you know it's supposed to get better. But I think they forgot that they were back in the LTA South, and I think their scrimming has caused them to learn all the wrong things, aka how to team fight and forget how to macro. And that's exactly what I saw in this series. Like FURIA was very, very Brazilian in this series, and yeah, that's just not the better way to play. And it feels like they've lost all their international experience, got worse. They look tired, frankly, and sometimes they look rather brainless on the map. So yeah, it definitely came out to bite them. And for Loud, if they can keep this sort of mindset, this reminds me of like Dynasty Loud, where they were just doing nothing for 30 minutes and win after 30 minutes. Like not quite as bad as that. Like they're doing things before that, but like the cool minds they have, I think later on, knowing like, okay, we give up kills for objectives, we stack it up, wait for the late game. I feel like that is Dynastic Loud, and that is a Loud that's scarier to me, and a Loud that's going to make for a very interesting match against Red, who's kind of on the other side of the spectrum.
Yeah. It's worth noting that ThinkHard mentioned that they were still winning around 70% of their scrims up until the point where they got knocked out of the split. So like, and you know, saying they were still winning, evidently it seems like in practice they're still there was a consistent through line there, but on the stage something just fell apart, and there's not that many games, so you lose one series, you take a lot of pain, especially at this point in this part of the split. So I don't know. It's a bummer. It's a big bummer for FURIA. But for Loud, it is another crucible for them to continue improving. And 4x4, now that we've seen them do this to FURIA, they have Red next, an equally, but pretty much equally volatile team at this point. Like, Red don't look perfect either.
Sure.
No.
They've also got hands out the wazoo, but do put themselves in some pretty silly boxes sometimes. And so what are we thinking here? Like, this is Loud. Does the train ever stop at this point, or?
I don't know, man. I mean, like, I think right now, I don't know, man. Maybe it's recency bias. I feel like I would favor Loud slightly because it felt like they faced a little bit more adversity. To your point, RMC, right? You watch some of those games back, and you see, like, especially like in Game 3, FURIA got off to kind of a roaring start, right? 8-2, but then it was like 8-2 with like 1,000 gold lead, right? 8-2 should result in a slightly bigger gold lead, right? And Loud just kind of, it's sort of like you said, Trajan, it reminds you a little bit of Dynasty Loud, where they might, you know, take their lumps in the early game, but they hold the fort really, really well. But I think it's almost like, you know, Griffin does have a little bit of the croc about him, where he's going to go for stuff that, like, you know, he's going to aggressively, like, counter jungle and, like, just make smart plays on the margins, right? And call his laners with him as well to make those plays. But yeah, and they, you know, you hold the fort, you hold the fort, you hold the fort. And look, and like a lot of those team fights didn't go Loud's way, right? FURIA, like, it was a closer 3-0 than you would think. Because they were on the verge of not winning. They had games 2 and 3. Game 1 was a little bit more done and dusted, but games 2 and 3 were a lot closer. And yeah, man, I don't know, like, if they keep playing like this, right? Because I feel like Red, they might put together a stronger early game, but they might just easily put together a weaker early game. They're not going to put together as cohesive an early game as FURIA. I'll put it that way. So I don't know, but it seems like they can deal with, I don't know if they can deal with chaos, because FURIA are not chaos. So I think that's gonna be the question. Right now, I think I'd favor Loud slightly. But I think I'd give it to him 3-1, 3-2. What's going on, RMC?
Sorry, I'm just laughing at the way you're like, they're not chaos, but they're chaos. They've got a good early game, but not a good early.
That's just Loud, man. That's just what Loud does.
That's really loud.
They defy definition.
It's just really funny watching the 448. You're trying to pin down, like a quantum issue, I guess. Like they're not anything.
I'm so glad that we did manage to manifest Red Loud by just hoping really hard for it for the entire split, and against all odds and seeding, we managed to get there. So good job, team, on that one. Good hustle out there. But and that series is going to be ridiculous, I think, in the best possible way. So it's a really fun top 4 that we ended up with. It's depressing that FURIA isn't part of it, because they're also a fun team to watch, but we don't have no like imposters have snuck in there, I think. They haven't been tripped up by someone who I don't think is going to give us a good show at the very least. But the Loud Red series is for the final spot, is for the third place.
Yes.
To make it in there, which is just perfect. And before we talk about Loud and Red, let's touch on Red Live. because that
Yeah,
series
you're not
also
getting
occurred.
away with not suffering, Trajan.
No.
You have to suffer
Dude,
house.
This is I got off the Lev train at the appropriate stop, which was at the red match. Right? I'm not a fool. Okay, like we got pretty much what I think wasn't exactly what we expected. Because I think I was on the camp that I think red. I didn't think I gave Lev a game in my prediction for this year. I didn't think they'd get a single one. And to Lev's credit, they put together one super clean, super high quality game with like a no notes win over red. It was just classy from start to finish, which is great that
13-1, baby.
Yeah, they have that ceiling, right? And that's great to see. That puts them in great stead moving forward. It means that this roster, I think, you can justify keeping it very much largely together the way it is without having too much problems, and you can build on this, right? So that's good. But ultimately, red are just they're too much. Like they're too much for Lev, man. They're too much for most people. So, you know.
Yeah. Frosty whipped out the pike as well.
Dude, everyone's whipping the pike out now. It's crazy.
That game 3 comp still gives me all sorts of weird diseases looking at it. I still hate that comp.
It did look like that shouldn't have worked for red. That should have been the game 2 for Lev. And then red
because it shouldn't have.
Yeah, and then red can start taking the game seriously again and then win 3-2. But the Zed Nidalee mid jungle was like a bit illegal. And it looked like it was completely flopping as well from the early game. It looked like it was not going to work at all.
Well, because Nidalee zero setup is so hard to play. Like, props to Doom for actually remaining relevant. And then Kaze. Yeah. Man, Kaze was just getting hard targeted the entire series. That was just like, yeah, we know who your carry is. And they just sat on Kaze that entire series. But the fact that they came up, it's really funny too, because Frosty whipped out the pike. And I remember thinking, wait, if Red win this, if Loud win this, we get Frosty Redbird, the only 2 pike players.
The contested pike pick. Love that.
Yeah, is Pike suddenly a contested pick for their matchup? Like, in what world? So what timeline are we living in?
Who can pull it out in the more inexplicable point in the draft? Who can pick it the weirdest possible.
Into freaking Ezreal Rakan, too. It's like we usually see Pike hooked into sort of what do we call it?
Like enchanters. Like Lulu and Nami and stuff, where you just pick them and they die. Yeah.
And then, like, Rakan, how are you going to hit that? Ezreal, how are you going to hit that?
Yeah.
Like, even if
you interrupt Rakan's E, he has 2 E's, so he just E's again. Like, it should not work, man. It should not work. That was the most just like, I guess that was the point where you can say that if Lev were an actual good team, you can't let that go. Especially after they did not succumb to an early snowball in that game. You should not be losing to that. It was a very silly draft, and like Lev should be able to win that game. So that tells you where Lev still need to go, and it does again speak to just the red essence that has carried over into this new roster, which is maybe the most like Brazilian carefree. We're just gonna do stuff and like get away with it through like sheer vibes, but kind of.
Coaches are talkers and Belzy.
Yeah,
like, these guys are good coaches.
And they're also super Brazilian. Like Belzy presided over Loud for 4 splits, right? While they were winning, doing exactly this kind of nonsense. This shouldn't work, but it does stuff. And Talkers is like from one of the most iconic Brazilian rosters of all time. That also, I'm not saying they were playing like that. But this is just the energy of this region. Like Talkers is iconic of this region in many ways because of that history. It's in all of their blood, man. It's in red, and they still play like that sometimes. They still just do it. They still just get away with it, and like that's just red. I guess they're now carrying the banner for that style of play. They're not the only ones.
There is something to be.
Furia's got a hand on it. Yeah, like.
Yeah, and I think there's something to be said for just again, whether it's like the best for long-term success. I mean, no, I kind of do. It's like you should let the players be themselves, right? A good coach isn't going to necessarily, unless you are, Coma, right? You don't have the kind of authority to come in here and just instill your system. I think there are a lot of parallels to soccer, right? Like system managers versus man managers versus like guys who are going to change their tactics and system to the opponent, right? Like it's not a perfect metaphor, but like a good coach should know the strengths that their players have and work towards those. And, some of Red's strengths can be their weaknesses, but evidently Talkers and BLZ feel that is a gamble worth taking, where the upside is higher than the relative downside.
Like,
I think that's fair because we've seen Nelson try to come in and do the opposite of that. and it was a
Yeah.
disaster.
Yeah, the Shy is a world champion and is probably going to Worlds again this split, right? And the Shy is that. He is the parallels between the way Shy plays and the way Brazilian top laners and other people play is quite clear in my head. And you know, people love to make fun of him, call him the fraud, but they also love to pop off and say poggers. And when he pops off, right? There are parallels we can draw without being like, you know, the Brazilian way is never going to work, right? You can be that way as an individual player and still succeed. You can't all be that player all the time. Then you're not going to succeed, I think. But there's room for that element to still be there in a successful player and a successful roster.
Yeah, we do have to be careful about constantly saying Brazilian though, because Kaze isn't Brazilian, and Kaze is.
So I suppose, yeah, because I did mention that, yeah, I did say that Kaze does have one of those off games as well, right? It seemed like he had less of them, but he does have them, it's true. So you can also still be Argentinian.
Yep.
And also be that way, I suppose. So we can say South American. But even like, you know, it's who is actually the most consistent player on this team? Maybe it's Frosty.
Maybe it's Frosty.
Who's like actually not sprinting, like not taking an opportunity to run it down at most points. Doom doesn't really run it down.
I think Rebello's the most.
His early game, his first few games had a couple of.
He's a rookie, man. You got to give him.
Yeah, maybe there's a little bit of rookie to that for sure. It was cool that we saw Doom pick Nidalee, forgetting the draft and all the nonsense about that. But the guy has an Nidalee.
Take it in isolation.
And it's a cool thing that we're seeing more variety and depth out of Doom, and he is growing like kind of steadily into this. He's kind of doing what Frosty was doing last few splits, where he comes in and is like, there's talent here, but like, you know, you're not Curry or you're not Sales or whatever, and we're growing and we're building, we're deepening the pool, sometimes in questionable directions, but we're playing more solid games. We're not seeing like massive Doom gappening affairs that we did see last split when he subbed into admittedly a roster on fire. So there's probably not too much he could have done about that, but I think we're seeing steady progress from Doom, I think, as well. And into Scary as well, who was kind of in a pretty similar position like a few splits ago, and is kind of still in a similar position. He's just been around for longer. So I thought that's cool. I'm still like, he's not like the bowl of jungle, but there still needs to be, I think, a fair amount of time worked and work to be put in for Doom before I'm going to start putting him up against the, I guess the Desamuses and the Karaokes and the Tattoos of the world. Sure,
but I do love that Rid hasn't like broken him in like with like a lot of other junglers where like, hey, you just play meta slave, right? Just your Sejuani, your Wukong, your Pantheons, your like it feels like this split. I think most of their games have been 3-0s or like 3 game series. They had the 3 game series against Isurus. But like every time we go 4 games, he gets one really weird pick. Like this round against Leviathan, he gets the Nidalee pick, which is really weird. Last round against paiN, he got the Dr. Mundo, which was like, I guess I can see why you're doing this. It's very off meta.
People
seem to like that.
That was a 2-0, wasn't it? Right, the paiN Red series. Didn't they just like?
So the first one was a 2-0,
right?
He played
then the next one was
2-1. Yeah, and then the next one, like in their loss, he went up Mundo game 4, which didn't work out. But I like the idea. It just feels like every once in a while he gets this like weird pocket picks. I'm kind of looking forward to seeing like Griffin versus Doom if we get more than 3 games, and I want to see like some weird picks come out.
But yeah,
like,
that's cool, man. We should have pocket picks in jungle. Like this.
Hell yeah!
It was really
like
wide
Investa,
open until everyone just decided
Boulder.
to play Xin and Trundle every game. So so that's pretty cool. And then for Lev to kind of wrap up the story on Lev, I mean, I still think, I guess, maybe Zothvi's struggling the most now. Toplop is still pretty messy, but it's just kind of settled into like, you're better than where you were, and there's places to go with this roster, I think, but I don't know, not like a huge amount of distance to go with it.
But if we look at this series in particular, I think Scary's the one who's going to get fired. Just looking at this series.
It wasn't
his
great.
game 4, he full sent it. Like, he actually trolled that game so hard.
Yeah, he kind of tossed it. His game 2 was legendary on the Poppy. It was great, but he was still sending it. It was just working, and then they had like the rhythm and their feet under them, and it was great.
Yeah.
But when you don't have your feet under you and you're on Vi or like Jarvan or Zin or something, and you just keep sending it, like, it's not good. It's not good.
Like, he was so decent from his team. Like, every time his team's running out, Scary's like, Leroy Scary, and just dives right in. And the freaking game-ending fight, too. That one sent me for a loop, watching him go on Frosty. I just could not believe my eyes when we saw it. Like, for was that casting with you, or was that casting nutrition on?
I wasn't on that one.
On Friday. Okay, that's 4. Yeah, I was losing my mind watching that engage. Like, I was like, how many times have we seen Frosty yoinked by Fate's Call? And you're choosing Frosty when he's not even like.
Yeah, no, it started to come back to me. It was like, I get that you don't have you can't be too picky if you're kind of chasing the game like that, but like when it's happened like a few times, literally, it's like, you know, it's not going to happen, right? It's such a valuable ultimate. You can't just be wasting it like that. You have to simply just look for better opportunities, or just take a neutral game state or something. Yeah, it was not good.
I like that we saw normal Callista in this game from Rebella, not AP Callista. He wasn't messing around. I mean, we do seem to be just threading Callistas back into the mix again, which are just inexplicably working as they tend to do down here. But yeah, I mean, I still think, the way that Lev ended, they still seem decidedly, I mean, they 3-2'd over Isurus, so it's hard to say decidedly, but Isurus are still like threatening to blow up even more of their roster now. And
they got rid of Snaker.
Yeah, right.
Snaker,
the word is that
and who was the other one?
They were threatening Leza as well in mid lane.
I think they are dropping Leza.
So that's the word. And then there was some discussion about why can this team just like drop the roster that entered them into last place or the position that they're in, and then just like get sort of imports on a 2-week contract just to keep them in the league, and then sell them again, which obviously is a pretty anti-competitive practice, which I think has merit to it. I don't really know how to solve that one. That's the league ops problem, but
look, when it's a results-based business, and no more so than you are the only guys who have to survive relegation. Like, you don't hate the player, hate the game, right?
Yeah, and Estral already nicked all of their imports.
They beat him to it. Just nope, we are breaking away from you guys. We're going to sign the fucking expendables and
they're qualified, right? Estral, I think, are qualified at least into the promotion event, like they're top 2. So
into the North promotion,
So they might actually completely do Isurus dirty on this one if Isurus end up not being able to do the same thing and then get knocked out, and Isurus walks away with Summit. And and Cody and just like walks into LTA North. That would be quite a funny timeline, but quite a cursed one as well. I mean, is there any other thoughts on?
They're not going to take Summit over Zamunda though.
Nah, not in the long term. No, that's foolish. So does anyone else have any thoughts on Lev before we wrap up and leave them in the dust to move on? Like, once again, I thought House had a decent series considering he's against Kaze. He didn't get as blasted as I thought, as like individually as I thought he might. Game 1 obviously was a classic Kaze moment. It was just like a 1v9er from him, but the Ziggs game was great. The Rise game again was fine. This is multiple Rise games from House. I've just been like, he can't play, man. Like, his team is just completely useless. Like, you can't do anything on this champion if your team is doing this. So like, I thought it was fine. And I thought it would be worse, honestly, for him. So I'm happy enough with what he's done. It's definitely still an ending improvement for him, a net gain. But does anyone else have any thoughts on Lev before we leave him?
Yeah, I think House might have been able to earn his spot in Tier 1. We'll see how it goes, but I think he's shown that he can hang there. For the bottom 3 teams were always kind of clear throughout most of the split. And considering that Lev was supposed to be a cut below, props to them. I think they bounced back pretty well towards the end. They had a good scale at the end. Not enough to break top 5, but I think they had a good run of it. Better than Fluxu and Isurus at any rate.
Yeah. Gave us a real series against Isurus. A fun series 3-2. They gave us an actual playoffs match to get invested in, which is cool. So thanks for that, Lev. Okay, so this weekend, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, we wrap up the rest of the domestic bracket. BKS, of course, waiting in the finals on Sunday. Friday, we start with Loud versus Red, which
yeah, we do.
Which is what a way to start the weekend for everybody, especially for me because it starts at 5 p.m., that's when I finish work on Friday, and then we're opening up the stream and we're cracking a cold one perhaps and observing. So, what are the thoughts? Advantages to give, favorable lanes, problematic matchups. Who's got a take?
No thoughts hit empty. That's gonna be fun.
That's gonna be the whole series.
Yeah, I think mid is the biggest mismatch. Jule's like roamer levels right now, which is not great. So like better than what he was, but not great.
Yeah.
And we just watched Miru body roamer. I think there's a world in which Kaze bodies Jule. The reverse matchup is kind of in the jungle, where Griffin versus Doom. I think Griffin's riding much higher highs right now. Doom is no Jule though. I think Doom has been performing better. So the gap in the jungle is smaller, but Griffin is like a superstar, man. So that one's gonna be the mid jungle duels are gonna be fun to watch.
Yeah, they've kind of got their strengths in different, in one in one role, one in the other role. And we get Robo versus FNB again, right? A matchup for us. Oldest time, Unk versus Unk, going at it for a spot in international play. Yeah, and then the bot lanes I think are also kind of unfortunately at similar levels where they're kind of being carried by their supports. Redbird's been on a low key kind of rich vein of form. He's been playing, especially considering where he started. I think he's been playing a lot better.
Yep. Yeah, he started from let's get this guy off the team because he's going to ruin everyone's
look, the bar was very low
to
start, but now he is a perfectly solid, serviceable support.
Hey man, it's lane swap meta. He started from the bot lane, now he's here.
Yeah, sure. and now he's vibing with Griffin on socials. Like they've got banter. Like the atmosphere is clearly good. Which is nice to see. So yeah, like all power to Redbird to start clicking heads again. And yeah, repopularizing the LTA South Pike. So
really? That is so weird to me though.
I know.
The two of them. Like Redbird in my head was never a Pike play, and Frosty had the hands for it, but he's never really.
He was always like the Alistair guy in my head before we had Curry. And I don't know.
It's like the the we still talk about you meme, right? The cartoon, kind of the person kind of leaning over the whatever's varied. It's like Zai on Pike.
Yes.
Yeah.
Zai lost some Pike in CD though. He's losing his Pike. He's washed. He's going.
Oh, damn.
But yeah, low key, I actually think Frosty was the best performer for Red this last weekend. Did he win MVP? No, they gave it to Doom. Okay. I personally actually would have given it to Frosty.
Yeah,
I thought Frosty was insane.
Is a bit goated.
Yeah.
Trimby got the MVP in the paiN.
Yeah, we're doing support MVPs now, man. It's
I was gonna say it's not dead. It's not dead.
That's how you know the meta's balanced. It's because supports can win MVPs now. So, but that's it's gonna be in terms of a 2v2 like Root and Rebello. Root certainly does not, at least right now, and has not really been playing for a strong 2v2 for a while. There's not a huge amount of like Lucian Nami stuff anymore because he has done that. There's not like Kaisa Nautilus. These are all viable things you can play.
He played Lucian this last weekend, not with Nami though.
Who did they play it with?
It was Rel.
Oh, it's Rel. Okay, fine. Yeah. But we're not seeing it as much from him. And Rebello is... I'm kind of struggling to quantify Rebello right now because...
He's good.
He's good. He's
the only Callista in this one.
He's for sure good. Like, yeah, because he's got the Callista. Previously, it was like the best games were like the Corki games, which were kind of quiet, but again, just the sort of, I'm just going to bide my time and then wait for the moment to pop off, or just, I'm going to receive my kills, I'm going to deal my damage behind my front line, and I'm not going to do anything silly. So like the times when we saw him making quote unquote like flashy plays were them going like pretty badly or trying to break back into a losing game in the early stages, and there's less of that now, but the team's doing better now. I don't know. I find it really hard to tell like how Rebello's going to perform in any series. He's good for sure, but now there's only good players left, so there's no more Snaker matchups, there's no more top club matchups. I worry a little bit, I suppose. But
well, if anything, Root worries me a bit more because he has not played Yunara, and I think Somebody fact check money on this. I think he might be the only AD carry who hasn't played Yunara.
That would be. I guess
champion stats.
Yeah, everybody else has played Yunara in LTA South except for Root. In fact, Rebello just had a really great game on that Yunara.
Just 7 champions, 7 players: Marvin, Ayu, Snaker, CEO, Titan, Rebello, Mortez. Yeah. Wow.
And that to me is
a good catch.
Yeah, because like she's busted right now. I think she's the best AD carry in the patch. Varus is number 2, and just Root's not playing Yunara. I don't know what the counter to Yunara is. I've seen Corki try and match hands. I've seen Jin being played into her to try and just pop her quickly. I've seen Kaisa be sort of the favorite matchup, which I don't even like. So,
or like Ezreal Karma to just try and bully her out of 2v2, but that's about it. And you can't even really bully her that easily unless you like ban Braum. So I don't know. It is tough to deal with. It's weird that he's not playing it. Perhaps it's just been like, we don't need it, or we feel like it's easier to just, or maybe they found a counter for it and like, we don't have to bring it, like we'll try and counter it with something, but we think it's bad against this, so we'll just hold that for it and we'll give it to them because they'll like waste they'll waste a draft trying to draft around it, and then we've got our answer for it. So maybe there's something cooking there, but given that Root can be like, has and can be the late game scaling carry player with Sivir, with Kaisa, with Zaya, like it does feel weird that we're not touching it.
Funny you mentioned Sivir because that is what Root played into both the Yunaras he had to play against, and he won both those games.
Maybe it's just out turtle the lane or just clear the lane out and outscale.
Yeah, you're like opting out
with way less like stress and hassle to achieve the same like team fight monstering result with Sivir. You just press
why would I put myself through this
and press like it's why am I like aging myself doing this, man, when I could just press W? Like it's crazy.
I mean, it was against Isurus and an ailing Furia.
So okay, so it was against Snaker, and then I enjoyed very good, but yeah. So anyway,
I was IU this weekend. So
well, yeah.
Well
then. Okay, so who are we picking? So who's the prediction? Who's gonna win? Mid jungle is.
I know 4-4. You said you favored Loud, right?
Top is just
go with
random central, and then bot lane is kind of hard to tell. Like,
yeah, I'll go with Loud 3-2, but I'd be happy with any outcome, honestly. Like I think if I'd like to think that if Red beat Loud, it'd be because they faced a lot of adversity, right? They were able to stop the kind of unstoppable force that is Griffin, right? He's gonna get Volibear one game at least, right? And if you can withstand a Volibear game in terms of can you win it or can you like still win the series despite dropping the Griffin Volibear game, then I think you will have earned your place in cross conference. And I think Kaze getting there is a great thing. FNB getting there is a great thing, right? Like if this young core of Red, right, could get to internationals, it might convince Red to be like, actually, we're not going to make any roster changes, which would be a great step in the right direction for the league as a whole. And just a great story. But also, if Loud made it back with old man Robo, right? Root just, trying his darndest to still give a shit before he goes on a military service. And of course, Griffin, in the long term, that almost gives me less confidence. But like, I think whoever comes out of this will be a worthy winner, but I'll go Loud 3-2.
Everybody wins with this series. Yep. In terms of anyone watching, everybody wins.
The real winner is the viewers, 100%.
I believe these two teams will deliver. I don't see a world in which... I don't see a world in which like one of them just flop over and dies. Like even if it ends up being a 3-0, I expect it to be an explosive 3-0 kind of.
Yeah, like more like the FURIA Loud one where like the games are nutty and like there's back and forth and gold leads every side and like it's not.
The FURIA Loud series in my head didn't feel that nutty because even though the fights were close in favoring FURIA, I actually never felt like Loud lost control at any given point. Like they were just they were focusing the objectives, which is the right way to play the game, and they were getting leads there. So. If anything, I expect the Loud Red one to be more explosive, where I don't feel like one team is in control. I think it will be a lot of swinging back and forth. Like the gold I expect to see, the kind of wild thing. For all the reasons why I kind of put down the fact that it's hard to put down the nature of these teams and whatnot, I do think it'll be a 3-2. I'm going to take the Red side of it, just because I love Griffin. The man's amazing. He's one of the best pickups we've had come to Brazil. Best imports recently to Brazil. Not just in terms of play style or his skill, but just he fits Brazil so well. But I'm also a fan of CD, and I love seeing the development from Rebello, Doom, and Kaze. So I'm going to go on the other side of things, more just because I'm supporting them and want to see them succeed more than, like I think that Red is a better team. I think they're just different ends of the spectrum. Loud feels more cerebral right now. Red feels a lot more, I know spicy. I should mention this, Brazilian, Latin American, South American, like they just feel that way. That was the magic that made me love this region in the first place. So
yeah. As much as Kaze is not Brazilian, we have an understanding here of what Brazilian gameplay looks like. And
and he's right in there with us.
He's from that school of thought.
So just stop picking the Twisted Fate and try to do that one. Everything else.
Look, I like his Twisted Fate, man. I think his Twisted Fate is underrated. Like, I think it's hard to make this pick work, and he's had like one game where it was really good, and one game where it didn't really do much at all, right? But he was like 2-1 and something. But he didn't really win the game with it. But I don't think his TF is as bad as all that.
I think he does a fantastic TF cosplay. I'm just not a gambler at heart, so
I think the champion is really hard to actually play well and win in this meta.
I agree.
So I don't.
So why do it when you don't have to?
Well, let's maybe DM talkers about that instead of Kaze. So why are we letting him play this terrible champion? But I guess that comes down to what 4-on-4 said about letting the players beat themselves, right? He says a TF angle, sometimes you gotta let it be a TF angle. I am also on the red side, 3-2.
Okay, let's go.
Again, I think that like almost any result is possible. It's kind of like Lev ISG. Almost any result is possible. Neither result is really better or worse than the other. They both have obvious merits that are valuable for the region, for the viewers, for the players, and for everybody. And either of these teams coming fourth instead of third, I think is completely fine, given these two teams where they started this split, especially the challenges they've already overcome. For Red and Loud to be third and fourth with VKS, and maybe they would have wanted to be above VKS perhaps, but then the assumption was that it would be paiN and FURIA above them, right? So I didn't come into this thinking that they were going to do more than this. And they've both done exactly that. No. So, and they still might. One of them still might come second. One of them still might come first. True.
Yeah.
So I think as a baseline, I'm happy with what both of them have done this split. More than happy. And I don't really care who moves on because I think it's good either way. So I think
the problem is the stakes are really high for this game. Like this is arguably
you say I know you didn't mean it this way, but like the difference between it's like, oh, you can finish third, you can finish fourth. There's a massive difference.
Yes, in terms of what they actually then get to go and do.
Yes,
it is a big difference.
Yeah,
but
there's an airplane ticket and a really nice trip to LA and potentially Texas on the line. So
yeah, as in the grand tapestry of this region's history of results and placings, I think it's all good. But because really, and to be honest, them coming third versus them coming first, what we really care about is them making worlds or not, beating the LTA North team or not. Because that is the real end goal of this specific split, right?
That's what matters, man.
So whoever gets in, that's fine. I guess that's that threshold, as you say, is the biggest threshold to cross is top three.
Yeah. Well, which I think dovetails nicely into the next matchup, which will be paiN versus the winner of that.
Yes.
So red for me and Trajan, Loud for 4-4. Because I'd argue the stakes on this one are just as high, because the loser will most likely have to play FlyQuest, which I feel like is the only team in the LTA North that I don't think
isn't beatable. Yeah, because Shopify, we all would love to see anyone who gets to play the Shopify match.
Shopify is basically Brazilian.
That's going to be hype, right? They're basically
they've got Revan, they've got B-Boy, they've got Seos. Come home, buddy.
They're basically 50% CBLOL, and that's great. And that's going to be good. And then Cloud9 are evidently flawed, despite the fact that they're one of these, very high ceiling. All the pieces, they don't seem to be quite as... The sum of their parts doesn't actually seem to be slightly bigger than them, if you know what I mean? Kind of butchered that, but...
Oh, wait, actually, sorry guys, I realized I made a mistake. The first seeds face off in an upper bracket with the second live. So, actually, nobody faces FlyQuest. Screw it. This match doesn't matter.
Okay, fine. Yeah, whatever. Who cares? So it's going to be El Clasico from 6 years ago or El Clasico from 3 years ago. So it's going to be paiN Red or paiN Loud, and it's still going to be sick either way. And then the question is, okay, paiN, so you beat Red in a contested but conclusive series, and then folded against VKS, who arguably look absolutely godlike right now. And how if Loud actually beat Red as well, and they keep that momentum rolling, the rate at which Loud is improving then makes me kind of scared for paiN. If they're not going to be consistent, if they're not going to be like predictably good, I'm very worried for them. You know,
I think Loud's actually the easier matchup in terms of their actual teams currently. Like I think, Robo is always a terrifying prospect, but I think Karaoke actually matches up generally pretty well into Griffin's playstyle. I think Roamer for one will not get punished by Jewel for a change. I think Titan and Curry will absolutely body the bot lane. So it's really like top versus bot being the matchup.
Wiser generally, in terms of the history of people manhandling Robo, Wiser probably has manhandled Robo more times than any other top laner in like the history of this region.
Has he? I don't know.
But the inverse is also true.
We're including like even in like the series, like the finals where paiN is losing to Loud. I feel like so many times the problem is not Wiser like getting gapped by Robo in lane or whatever. Like
that's fair.
It's more like Dinkato or Karaoke losing their minds.
Yeah, but so the problem is that Wiser's not getting gapped, but then the rest of paiN's getting gapped by Robo and Jax.
Right.
Or Renekton or Olaf or whatever the pick of his poison
but,
is.
Like, so many times, especially like this is regular, more often you see it in the regular season, but we did actually end up seeing it eventually, like when paiN managed to get their act together, that we would see paiN, that we'd see Wiser able to not like get bamboozled by Robo being like at his jungler's blue buff at level 1 and then like somehow at his own red buff at level 3 and like he's just, you know, Wiser I think holds up against Robo better than most. Like FNB and Wiser are the two people that I would tend to pick to be like, please don't lose your mind against Robo. But that's and like I agree with the mid lane matchup. It's probably just kind of a flipper or at least like not super volatile. Jungle, depending on which Karaoke shows up. If it's split 3 Karaoke, mostly split 3 Karaoke, then sure. If it's like last week Karaoke or sort of split 2 finals Karaoke or these other variable Karaokes, then Griffin might run a train over.
Might have an issue.
And I agree with the bot lane as well. So I think Loud is an easier matchup on paper for sure.
Yeah, I'd take paiN 3-1 over Loud if it is the Loud matchup. But the red matchup 4i4, I think it's going to be a lot spicier.
Yeah, but they also did just dump them down 3-1 into the lower bracket.
So they're 3-3 in overall games now, right?
Yeah, because it's 2-0 then 3-1.
Because it was 2-0 and 3-1 so they're even.
That's right.
So this is the best of 7 decider.
This is this is the best of 12, best of 11.
Yeah,
whatever it is, best of 11 decider. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, look, it could go either way. Like, I just don't know with this paiN roster, man. Like, just who's gonna show up. But again, like paiN, they could be playing with less of a fire under their behind. Because I'll put it this way: if you win the split, right, you go into that Juggernaut match, right, but you also auto qualify to Worlds, right? You can show up to LA being like, look, this is just for vibes, like for kind of, right? Obviously, there's more on the line, and you want to get that you steal that second seed, right, from the LTA North, right? But if you win, right, you do get that guaranteed spot at Worlds. So I do think that paiN will again they're gonna come out with their hair on fire. I would favor them over either one of these teams, as crazy as that sounds, because but it is very much 51-49. It is very much like I think Loud and Red are more inherently flawed teams, whereas with paiN it's just like who shows up on the day. I was gonna say I think the floor is lower for other teams, not paiN, but I don't know if I could say that. I don't know. I just like I think that's the best way I can put it. I think that's the best way I can put it is that Red and Loud feel more inherently flawed. I have not seen Red or Loud like completely paper over all their issues in a consistent way, whereas I have seen that from paiN. They can show up and put together a really good game and just beat anybody. So I will favor them, but it wouldn't surprise me. And also, again, like they've qualified for top 3. Maybe mentally they've taken their foot off the gas. I don't know.
paiN cannot afford that mentality. I think paiN need to understand.
No, they can't. You're right. No, you're absolutely right.
Yeah, it's not just like a world spot on the line. It's not just their job security. It's their life on the line. Because the paiN fans will lynch them if they don't at least make grand finals. Like losing in grand finals for paiN fans, like it's super upsetting. But at this point, not gonna lie, we're kind of a little bit numb to it. Like paiN choking grand finals. Wow, it's another year.
But hey, you get there every single time.
Yep. But if you don't make it and you drop to Loud again, or you drop to Red again,
if you drop to this version of Loud again,
like
there's gonna be hell to pay.
I don't know if Romer makes out the building. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a really sad cross-conference for them because they're going to know, like, look, I mean, it's sort of like in these big rivalry games where, like, it doesn't matter. It almost doesn't matter what the end result of the season is because of the way you went out, right? I think, but again, in soccer and like in college football, I'm a Michigan fan, and it's like Michigan had a bad season last season, but we beat Ohio State. At the end of the day, that's all that fucking matters, right? We went 7-5, but we beat Ohio State. Who gives a shit?
Yeah, and that's the Brazil mindset. Okay, I don't know if this is true for all of LA, but at least in Brazil, domestic always mattered more than international, right?
Yeah, because international, it's like it's going to be what it's going to be. We're going to go over there, we're going to get fisted. Maybe we don't. I don't know. Who cares?
Yeah, let's just have a good time and learn what we can, and that was it, right? But now I think FURIA certainly came out of international with a mindset of like, no, we wanted to actually win those games, and we were a hair's breadth away from doing it. So next time we're going to for sure do it. Now they've bombed. But VKS are for sure going to have the same, if not even a stronger mindset in that way. CL is not going to be like, Lamau, let's just get some good scrims.
Happy to be here.
Yeah. So that's that is, I think that mindset change has switched for sure. I think that unless Loud Red is like a really dominant 3-0 for one side, I would still favor paiN over whoever makes it. There's maybe an argument there could be, like, if I watch the series and like the vibe we get from the series, right, you can still have like a really dominant 3-1 like the VKS paiN one, or like a series where you still come away, even if it's contested, being like, this winner is really good, right? Yes, they didn't win all the games, but they played really well and their opponents are just good. So it's gonna take a lot for me to not think paiN will win the lower final, regardless of what happens with Loud and Red.
Okay, so the question is, how much do we think they win by? 4-4. What's the scoreline over Red?
3-1.
Trajan over Loud?
3-2.
Oh, okay.
That's what I would have said as well.
I'm gonna take 3-1 over Loud.
Yeah,
I think paiN come back roaring. But I don't think they play clean, so they'll probably drop again.
Yeah, they certainly don't. Which then leaves paiN predicted to land in the VKS hole again. And do we think any of those three is going to write a different story against VKS in the final than they wrote against paiN in the upper?
If it was Red, I actually might take a Red win over Cade.
That's crazy.
Like I think if Kaze can beat Muriu,
Trajan tried so hard.
Then I think they could beat Cade.
So FMB,
I mean, they could.
Did give the hands to Bowl when they last played, but that Bowl's dead. That Bowl is dead and gone, and we have new Bowl now. We have like Super Saiyan Bowl, so who knows? Mid is super variable, but I don't think Kaze gaps Muriu. I think there's a chance where Kaze edges out a marginal advantage over Muriu, and the other thing that will happen is Muriu will gap Kaze. So it's a slight advantage or a total disadvantage, I think, is what happens in that mid lane. And for a best of 5, I think Muriu, who has just been completely in a league of his own, potentially even in the context of almost all roles in this split, he has been in a league of his own. There's just been no stinker games from him. Absolutely none.
Yeah.
Didn't he have one bad Victor game, or was that last split?
I think it was last split. I don't think he's played Victor once.
If he did, I don't remember it.
I think Les has been the only one drinking from that well. But and then bot lane is Morteus and Trimby. I mean, I guess it does in theory, like maybe Disarmus form doesn't last forever because he has been quieter generally this split. But like, if we assume that the VKS we saw last week is the VKS we will see in the final, I don't think they get an advantage in bot lane. I don't think Frosty can break VKS's bot lane because they're too resilient now. The mid is so like, over the course of best of 5, I think Miriu comes out as the decidedly better player again. And then it comes down to can FNB 1v9 VKS, which I just don't think is true anymore. There's been times when FNB's been able to 1v9 a form of VKS probably, but it's been a while. It has been a while.
Since Trajan, that was back in the days of 3G. We're in 5G now.
Yeah, we'll get the Renekton Nidalee Doom FNB combo in topside, and we'll perma dive Bowl on Aurelia, whatever, and they'll win. I guess. I don't know, man. I just don't don't see it.
Well, thankfully, it's not going to be red VKS. It's going to be paiN VKS.
It's going to be loud versus VKS. So it's and
you didn't even have loud getting through red.
No, I didn't. That's true. I didn't have that. Yeah.
I think paiN. I'm going to give paiN a 3-1 in grand finals against Cade.
Repeat of
that
last
is
year.
the boldness of the paiN Zeche.
Yep, because here's the thing with Cade. Every single time they do well against paiN, and then it comes to the grand finals or it comes to the clutch moment, and paiN clutches up because they know that their lives are on the line. And I think they'll pop off, and I think they'll finally fix their drafting issues. They will. Okay, the Orianna for Roamer, good. Keep putting him in Orianna. Where's his Yone, man? Give him his Yone. Even if he goes down like 0-10, he'll have the power spike. It's fine. Give that to him. The Rise was aight. I'd love to see his Jace and his Ahri. I don't know where. Like, I get that they fell out of meta, but they didn't get nerfed.
Yeah.
Like, those are champions who looks way better on.
Don't give the Yone to Miryu for free. Steal it.
Yeah. Pick it yourself, man.
Please take it. Like, take it, go 0-10. I don't care. Just don't give it to him. Like, he's not going to do that.
Sheesh.
Yeah. Okay. I think that's fair. I would take, right now, I would take VKS like 3-1 against anybody, any of the 3 teams that show up in the final. I would take VKS 3-1.
Okay.
But then that's like on the information that I have, which is that they would be the same as they were. There is no reason for me to believe that they won't be, other than a complete gut feeling, and that's gambling, and I don't endorse that. So I take VKS 3-1.
It's not gambling if it's on paiN. It's faith.
Yeah, that's true.
Two sides of the same coin, brother.
Yeah. 404, what's your feeling on the final? VKS versus X.
I think if paiN get through, paiN will win. If it's anyone else, I'll take Cade.
Yeah. Yeah. We're very happy with
but this is the beauty of like
we're probably not getting
literally with all these 3 series this weekend, right? You get such a wonderful mix and match of all these different teams and different styles and different bits of momentum, right? Like different like form that they're on, and you could get any number of different results. Again, I just hope that the matches are more competitive. I hope that we get some slappers. I hope that the teams acquit themselves well and we don't get. I was going to say the loud FURIA 3-0, but like again, that was a closer 3-0 than we expected. I hope we don't get a Cade paiN 3-1 that we just saw this past weekend where paiN just they don't even puke all over themselves. They don't eat anything. They don't show up. They don't vomit. They just they don't even enter the room.
Yeah, like the FURIA VKS series was very depressing. And they didn't even get their token win that paiN has. So well, let's take a quick look at fantasy and then we'll do questions. So we have Rambling FC, who is always hovering around the top, but has actually slipped into a pretty wide gap into first, leapfrogging over RMC with Paradox, Lunaday, and Ray pulling up the rear. But there's a big gap in our top 5. There's almost 100 points in top 5 right now, which kind of speaks to the split 3 format and in terms of who gets points and who doesn't, and which players are viable and which aren't. And yeah.
I think we need to look at the rounds as well, because I might be second. I was like 8th in the round. I was like the lowest guy.
Yeah, because you smashed the one before because paiN came up big, and you got some champion picks right. But it was I think I was way down because I missed a whole week by not setting my roster, and I've climbed up a little bit more again, even though I kept with FURIA, but because the series was so bloody, they got a lot of points because they were like, they're a series where you look at their KDAs and you're like, they didn't win this game. Like, how do you not win the game with these KDAs? So that went all right for me. And Lev and Red managed to battle out, and my red players did decently. So we're back on the up and up.
Lunar actually was second on the round, so she managed to make up a lot of ground, and Rambling FC just cleared everybody.
Absolutely cleared. Yeah. Props to Meowforbot. Okay, now we have 5 questions. We have so many questions this week, so let's rattle through them. The first one is: are you guys covering the promotion relegation tournament for LTA South by Lunaday? Maybe. I don't see why not. I think it is pre-Worlds. It's it starts on the last day of the cross conference and ends 2 weeks later, which is about a week and a half before World starts. So it's mostly not clashing with anything, which is generally the main thing that would allow us to cover it or not. And given that it's going to be an LTA, there will be an LTA South. It's an LTA South product, like that. I think given that we have co-stream rights over the general product. I don't see any reason why not. Just depends if we're here, which hopefully we are. Because it's 7 best of 5s, and it takes 2 weeks. It's a lot of games being played in this. It's not just like not just like 9th plays against 2nd and 10th plays against 1st, and whoever wins promotes. Like there's a whole little GSL bracket double elim thing that happens there. So yes, I'm pretty sure is the answer.
It works out.
Yeah. Certainly, hopefully, and a kind of tentative yes. Lizard. If Riot would give esports teams the opportunity to design skins to profit of, I guess like these kind of partnered skins for CS majors and the like, what do you think the orgs
Valorant
would come up with?
Yes. Skins.
Yeah. What champion would they pick, and how would they look like thematic-wise? So we won't do all of them. Let's maybe pick teams that realistically have a chance of like winning, or maybe going to international and like getting a skin at international, because like teams don't all get skins for all the domestics. It's normally international or major events where skins kind of are released for these kind of things. So we can think about paiN, Cade, FURIA, maybe, hopefully again, ever. And maybe a bit of Red and Loud.
Yeah. I think Loud, like, they could get the most kind of distinctive, just like green
just
is
color
a much more
wise.
distinctive color.
Yeah, no one else is that like radioactive of a color in their
Just
logo.
flashy, exactly.
Yeah. And it's such a simple logo that you can just like stick on any part of like a champion. Like it's really easy to just emblazon that.
Which champion you'd pick? Man, I think that's a lot harder. I feel like if Tinons was still around, like Ari, as if she doesn't already have enough.
So the Loud one now ends up probably being like Volibear or Ambessa, because it's Griffin. It's probably the
like
face.
Who's Loud's mascot? It's Griffin.
Yep.
Yeah.
I mean, before it could have been like maybe Olaf or Renekton for Robo.
Yeah.
But
I do think an Olaf Loud skin would go the hardest, like thematically.
Yeah.
Olaf's energy matches with Loud's energy. Like,
and his axes just have like the big green triangle on them, and he's just like chopping you up with them. Yeah.
That'd be awesome.
All right. I think that's the best one. An Olaf Loud skin.
Olaf
Robo has
Loud.
also crossed the 2 generations.
Yeah.
I'd love to see a Kaze Akali skin.
Yeah.
There is this split
Or
performance.
not Kaze Zed skin. He's still just playing at mid. And
No, I'm not. I'd rather see a
you don't want to
TF skin
enable
than a Zed skin. No.
Man,
that
that's
drop
crazy.
is
That's so
that's
sad,
crazy.
man. We're never gonna get like a pro Zed skin ever, because no one picks it at Worlds because it sucks.
We already have one from Faker.
Yeah, but
I don't think we do.
Like, we have.
There's a T1 Zed skin, no?
It's from like the first ever T1.
Yeah, wasn't that from the
Back when Zed was
Mirror
viable.
matchup Ryu back in the day?
Look at the.
Yeah, but that wasn't like
Look at the moves.
Okay, no, SKTT1Z, JK.
Yeah.
It is. My bad.
But we need
My
more.
bad, Zed. Our
More Zed
/Zed
skins.
mains don't come at me.
So yeah, Akali would be good, because I don't think we have a World's Akali skin. So we can get Kaze Akali. Can have an Argentinian flag face mask.
That'd be
That'd be cool, yeah.
Or
She's
you
just wearing a
need,
Lionel
like,
Messi jersey.
yeah, you need you can get like either, I guess, Furia or Red, and you give them a Neferi skin, and Red can actually have like the Machilia
for Doom,
Neferi,
An actual final,
an actual
wolf
pack
yeah.
champ, and it just needs to be because it was so common in jungle, but they've taken it out of jungle now, so we can't get Doom. It's the kind of pick that like Doom might just play for no reason, like in game 4 against Loud. Like that's gonna be
like
his
an
weird
Italy
pick against
or a
Loud.
Mundo.
Yeah, so
He's got it in him, man.
yeah.
He's not above doing that.
Furia, you can have like a Nidalee Panther skin pretty easily. That's kind of like a freebie.
I would love to see a Belvet skin. That would be a deep.
Oh, an IU Belvet skin, yeah.
Yep.
Come on, man. Yeah.
Yeah.
That'd be a deep.
What a
no,
what a
pro-
fever dream.
or I'd say Tatu Lilia, but he hasn't played it recently, unfortunately.
No.
Yeah.
He's been playing
Tatu
both genres.
Skarner, maybe like that's
Tati, yeah. Skarner is like still what I think of when I think of Tati.
Yeah, or maybe even like a Tuts Draven skin.
Gigo
for
is
the
ear
heck of
skin.
God.
The one-offs.
Yeah.
Or actually, no, a JoJo Seraphine skin. I actually genuinely think JoJo Seraphine.
JoJo
really
Seraphine
good,
actually kicks. Even when they pick it by mistake, it's still good, man.
Sure.
It's really
They're
good.
arguably the best when they picked it by mistake, actually.
Yeah.
I feel like a monochrome like black and white to match Furia's colors would go hard.
That would actually go kind of hard. Like it's almost like a goth Seraphine skin.
Yeah.
Because you have Pentacle Sona, so we need like a Pentacle Seraphine, but it's just
like a goth Seraphine. Oh yeah, no, I think that's it. I think
we've solved it.
Done
I think it's goth Seraphine. I think that's the Furia skin, and
yeah.
that would actually, if Seraphine wasn't such a hated champion, that would make so much money. And then
I think maybe even because of that, it might make so much money.
Yeah. And then Kate is Pantheon, surely, because they're Guerreros, right? It's just like a Pantheon skin.
Oh, true. Yeah. I was thinking Kaisa for Morteus, but then that's just a base skin, so never mind.
Yeah, and Dasama's has would be giga spamming Pantheon like all junglers are because it's broken, so I think Guerrero Pantheon
it would have to be Pantheon. Yeah.
That's pretty good. All right. I am mislaying things. From Luna Day, can you guys speak on why you think Furia all of a sudden turned into paiN Gaming versus Loud
why is
and
paiN
lost
getting
the
shot?
ability
They're
to
already
play the
dead.
game at a tier 1 level? So, I mean, the question is it's like we said, like from ThinkCard said they were still winning scrims, but he said that they lost discipline, and just weren't like doing the work properly on the Rift, basically. They weren't following the steps. The implication is I'm kind of paraphrasing and speculating here. They weren't following the steps. They weren't going like following the same methods as before. They weren't doing the same diligence as before. And we'd seen that creeping in, as we said, over a long period. And then it just kept creeping in and all the good stuff crept out and everyone else got better. So
yeah, I mean, I touched on it earlier. I think that the scrims actually hurt them more than it helped them. You've got to be like when you're scrimming, when you're doing practices, you have to be mindful about it. Like just doing more for the sake of doing more,
it's not always
doesn't help. Yeah, especially in a cerebral game like League of Legends where macro is a thing. Like if you're just practicing micro, like you're just trying to practice your insects or whatever, sure, you can do that mindlessly and it's just muscle memory. But when you're practicing like the holistic approach and macro and all that, more isn't always better. And I think in the East it works because you're trained from the beginning to do it a certain way. But here you're trying to change the culture of not just South America, but just the Americas as a whole. North is not necessarily better when it comes to scrimming. So increasing the amount, I think, actually ended up reinforcing bad habits rather than actually...
Especially if you are just kind of smashing, right? I mean, like, I've heard other people talk about this, right? Is like the part of the reason that scrim data can be so fake, even when, like, especially when you're winning, is like just people are going to take more trades that they wouldn't otherwise, right? Like, and so if you're ahead kind of early in scrims, then like, okay, the other team's going to, you know, like you're gonna again, it's going to reinforce bad habits, like you said, because you can afford to be undisciplined in scrims, right? Other teams will opt into certain fights in less intelligent ways, right? And like, you know, if you're just getting smashed in scrims, we've heard this story from so many teams, right? If you're just getting fisted in scrims in the first 5-10 minutes, you're almost like, let's just like, I'll take this fight because the game might be just over quicker. I'm not going to like try to, you know, fortify and make cross maps, and you're just like, no, just go next.
Yeah. I literally think the only player I would think of in LTA South would benefit from these sort of mindless scrims is Robo. Because he will do the exact same thing on stage. So it's actually like good practice.
He's actually just getting warmed up. Like and you hear about like scrim bubbles and scrim metas developing where teams will scrim same partners over and over again, then step into an international event and realize that the scrim bubbles meta read was completely wrong, and then they end up getting completely blown out. So you hear that from like Eastern teams sometimes that would come into international and just look completely lost, or like, and it's maybe like, as you say, he's trying to switch to like the Eastern model, having not been raised like that as a player. They maybe just burnt themselves out a bit. Maybe they just like ran themselves down and over practiced and overworked before the important matches against really strong up and coming teams that just kind of blew them out.
Just to be clear, I don't think ThinkCard's wrong for trying to change the model. I actually think
like it's a tough transition. It's always going to be.
Yeah, exactly. It's just a tough transition.
But you probably should have done it afterwards. And then you have like 3 months to do it. But that's who knows, right? It's up to them. They came away from international super motivated and wanted to get started on it, right? And you probably don't want to be like, no, let's actually not use your motivation now. Let's just chill for a split and then do it. I understand not wanting to do that. Like, that's fair. From Lunar Day as well. Last week, RMC told you guys about Lechuga Gaming. Going off that, what are some of the best logos you remember in esports? Now, a lot of the best logos shouldn't be spoken about and can't be shown. You know, these esports logos get pretty horrendous at times, especially when you're doing grassroots leagues. They get pretty silly. But who actually has good logos? Like
Zeus Gaming. I don't know if you remember them. Yeah, the toilet paper cat. Yeah. Yep, I posted in our Discord chat. So.
Toilet paper cat.
Yeah, that was the team that took out. Was it CLG's academy team? I think, or is it...
Yeah, this is something.
Yeah, tier 3 team, best team.
Yeah.
Actually, Griffin. Well, different Griffin used to be on this team from CLG. The other Griffin.
CLG Griffin.
Oh,
CLG Wiggly.
Oh, the CLG Griffin
Wiggly.
that like to get into arguments on the internet. Wasn't that what we did?
I think in terms of some of the wildest, like, kind of cursed logos.
Cursed?
RC, and Trey, you might remember this as well, but it was actually earlier this year, they joined Dopamina Esport, but the Chicago Bulls.
Oh, yeah,
logo,
Chicago Bulls!
Oh,
yes,
no,
I
that's
love
good,
that.
actually. Yeah. Chicago Bulls are good.
that is one of the silliest logos I've ever seen. I'm trying desperately on the monitor to pull it up on, like, on the freaking, but like every time I click on the Chicago Bulls link, it doesn't even give me like the logo. It gives me nothing. It just takes me to Dopamina.
because it's been like
really
overwrought, and there's only like a tiny.
I got it. I got you.
I have a tiny 48
by 20 pixel. Yeah,
yeah, exactly.
Yeah, okay, it is small, but that's the Chicago Bulls for you.
Yeah.
Oh,
Chicago Bulls is truly cursed, but it's very good. It's very, very good.
There were some other bangers back in the day. I'm trying to think of like old like Korean or like Chinese league, right? Some old logos in the East.
What's actually I think is actually a really good team logo. I think TSM's logo is really good.
It is.
TSM's original logo.
You're right.
Is very good. Obviously, the brand is now completely dead and has spent the last.
Reggie was gonna win Worlds.
Spent the last 7 years burning its reputation to the ground piece by piece, but I thought the original.
He didn't say he was gonna win in League of Legends.
Was very
what a
sick.
joke!
The
what a
circle
joke
logo.
of a person, dude.
I'll tell you what the worst logo is. It's Loud. It's Loud's logo.
Oh,
Loud's logo could be really good. Why have they cut the corners off it and flattened it and makes it look like it's too big for the box it's in? It's so irritating. It infuriates me to no end.
I mean, it's simple. It's easy to do. Like it's not the worst.
It's so close.
There's a team that was in the CD qualifiers called Timo Supremacy. I think just off of that you can tell that their logo is going to be trash. There's Timo in it. So no.
Yeah.
I do think that the greatest, most distinctive logo though is CD's own SCCP. Corinthians. Beautiful
Oh,
sigil
interesting.
That pays homage to a historic organization in Brazilian culture and soccer, and bigger than so much of that, honestly.
Yeah.
I think there were some proving grounds tier 3 teams, but there was one. Was it? I'm trying to think. I think one of them was like designed in Paint, Microsoft Paint. I'm trying to find it.
There's a logo from a UK team called Broad and Friends, which is quite close to my heart, and it's just very weird looking, but it's like a sort of
it's like Simpsons looking.
It's like a sort of 1950s English football team badge.
Oh my goodness, that is so funny.
But with little
it's the AC Milan with just like
but with weird little guys on it that are Broad and his friends, and like it's great, man. It's just great.
That's great.
Yeah, I love those sort of.
That's a very good English logo.
It marries the good English traditional football culture, which is pretty deep at their heart, with just like the silliness that esports grassroots comes with.
Yeah,
that's good stuff.
Oh wait, Izo's team. There was a team called the Super Sunshine Fruit Basket Warriors back in the day.
The what?
Look them up. That's really funny.
This is a goofy logo.
This was the Paint. This was the Paint logo.
This is goofy. Yeah.
Shout out Izo,
man. I do have a soft spot for some. I don't even know if it's an actual good logo. I think it's just nostalgia. But the old OMG logo, like the black upside down triangle that had like they somehow managed to stick 3 like round / square letters into a triangle.
Yeah,
it's so chaotic and stupid and nostalgic. I like it a lot.
I have a real soft spot for Thunder Talk Gaming, because it's just so goofy in that it's like the
It's like a little
eyebrows
bitty guy.
of the smiley face that it is. It's so goofy to me. I actually like. It's my favorite little guy. You know, it's my special boy, and I love him.
Yeah.
So
Speaking of Smalley's, Trajan, there is a team whose logo is literally just : close bracket, Smalley face. Team pending, TBA. Masu used to be on that team, actually.
smiley face.
FlyQuest Masu
my
used to be
goodness,
on this
you're right.
team. Yeah.
Nice.
I cast him back in the day on this team. Like that. Yeah, that's a logo and a half, man.
That's good
Oh
stuff.
boy.
I'm just looking at like the regions with the most logos in them. I think Ultra Primes is good. I really don't
Ultra, I
like
do not like
EDGs because I think it looks like a sort of corporate like shipping company logo or whatever. It just doesn't seem to have like any source whatsoever. Even goes
Yeah.
Edward Gaming International, like
basic.
it's literally a logistics company.
Yeah.
It's
I like Yale's logo though. I like the panda.
yeah, I like AL as a
Oh yeah, dude, the Ninja Panda is
Yeah.
phenomenal.
Yeah.
It's great.
yeah, absolutely. But yeah, I think Thunder Talk is on our.
There are definitely some ones that we're missing, but
But I mean, there's
There-
infinite
there's
logos,
some
but so yeah, I take Broad and I take Thunder Talk for my silly guys. Right, and the last one is just a statement by Dark Knight. Statement by Dark Knight says, "How's greater than Tuts?" Any thoughts? Any thoughts on how's greater than
Off
Tuts?
recent evidence.
Leviathan
I need
versus
proof
Furia?
that's Dark Knight. All I see is an O there. I believe that's Trajan's Smurf account. He's
Yeah, that's why I've actually censored
just
the
wanted to
name
stick that in here.
with the no profile pic. Yeah, it's just my burner. Yeah, man. I mean, they look pretty comparable right now, which last split was not the case. Even though they weren't even playing in the same league, and it still wasn't the case.
yeah.
Like, it's I don't know, man. We need to send Tuts to like a retreat or something. I don't know. We need to help the boy
Send
out.
out a CD for a split.
I was
in
gonna say,
house.
is that retreat named CD, all inclusive?
Bro,
Yeah.
they're telling bro to scrim 8 hours a day, and he has a young child at home. This is not reasonable for Tuts. Like, this is look right. He's already got a full-time job as a dad. You can't be scrimming 8 hours a day.
I mean, his kid's like what, 2 years old at this point. So I mean, if anything, that was just warm up for the 8 hour scrims.
It's only gonna get worse. Like, until the kid is 5 and can be sent to school, like this is only gonna be more of a hassle.
You raised the baby. You can raise Tatu. Come on, Tatu. No, I'm kidding.
Oh, Tati's raising them, man. Tati's raising them.
Tatu's a baby man in esports age,
He's a baby man. Just a little baby man.
but he's the boss baby. So it's
Yeah.
like,
Oh, God. Okay. Right. On that note, of Boss Baby, let's just wrap this up, guys. Like, now we've hit Boss Baby, it's time to stop. We are going to be streaming usual place, usual time, LTA South on Twitch. It's Friday, Saturday, Sunday for the last 3 games.
Forget Friday game.
Don't forget your Friday games. To wrap up the domestic split, decide our top 3 and their orders as to we will then pack them off to LA to fist fight some Americans in a giant parking lot, I guess, because that's what they have over there.
sir, this is a
what we have.
Wendy's.
Yeah. So
It's a Wendy's parking lot.
yeah, exactly. Yeah. So you can follow us on Twitter and Blue Sky at LTA South. You can join our community Discord to ask us questions on the podcast and just talk to like-minded LTA South fans, including us. We hope to see you in the Twitch chat, in the stream on the weekend, and in the Discord, and on social media, and anywhere. Have a great rest of your weeks, and we will see you all at the exciting conclusion of LTA South Split 3.